Hey everyone, here for another episode of the Growth Mindset Podcast. I am your host, Coach Dave March, and on this podcast, we bring on fantastic leaders and innovative ideas and different types of people from different business backgrounds that talk about leadership, talk about expanding your life, expanding your mind, and your health. So, in today's episode, we have a special guest. His name is Nate. Nate is the CEO and founder of Keyspan, which is a key to your health. And Nate, why don't you introduce yourself to the good people here?
Yeah. It's great to see you. Thanks so much, Dave, for having me out here today. So I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Keyspan. Previously, I've worked for companies you may be familiar with, such as LinkedIn and Canva. I've had leadership roles across the world, Europe, Africa, Middle East, former Soviet Union, Asia, and I'm currently building Keyspan, which is a health optimization and longevity platform. Think extensive blood testing, your own personal health coach in your pocket, precision supplementation, and our most recently launched Microplastics blood test. So pretty exciting times. It's good to be with you today.
Oh yeah, definitely exciting times. It's something that like a lot of people kind of let go on the wayside, I think, which is an issue. Like the whole idea of supplementation, particularly for people in these kind of high stress environments, right? If you're a leader of an organization, you're going to be under a little bit more stress than your everyday kind of 9 to 5. So, but when it comes to just for a person first coming in to speak to you, what is kind of like the introductory package or that welcome package when someone kind of first starts to speak to you, Nate?
Yeah. So when people sign up for Keyspan, the first thing that happens is they get their blood tested, right? So we make it incredibly simple to get your blood tested. You may go to your nearest lab and have it done traditionally as you normally do, or we have a very white glove service that's available to everyone. And it's where we send the phlebotomist or the nurse out to where you are and we'll draw your blood. So you can have your blood drawn on your couch, at your office, even at a hotel if you're traveling. And I know for a lot of people, being in a clinical lab environment, getting your blood drawn is very uncomfortable. A lot of people really don't like it. So having this at-home option is a big game changer. Once we've tested your blood, you then spend an hour with your health coach. And that health coach is going to help understand what the day in the life of Dave looks like, right? Where are your stresses coming from? Where are the opportunities for you to make adjustments? And based on what we see in your panels and your labs, they're going to help you understand what your risks are to chronic illness. They're going to help you understand what it means to have a high or a low homocysteine or HSCRP. And you're going to walk away from that meeting with an in-depth understanding of not only what's going on inside your body, but also what you need to do, right? That action plan. What foods you need to eat more of, what foods you need to avoid, what types of lifestyle modifications do you need to make, what types of exercises do you need to be doing to achieve your health goals. And then as well, every month, we're going to send to you your precision supplements, and we just make it easy, right? No longer do you have to manage 6, 7, 8 different bottles of supplements. It's all in one nice pack. You just take it and go for the day. After that initial kickstart, you're going to be sort of set up to start doing daily changes to your routine. And that's where your health coach is going to be there along your side to help you, because behavior change is the hardest thing. So checking in with them on a regular basis, every 6 weeks, every month, every 2 months, whatever really works for your schedule. They're going to help you understand, hey, what's working? What are you able to achieve? And what's not working? And make some adjustments so that we can fit these changes into your daily life without adding more stress. Make it incredibly simple for you to reach that optimal state of health while still balancing all the busy things you have in your life, right? As you said, as your leader, you've got stress. That stress is not just coming from work. It's coming from your life commitments, right? Whether it be family, children, social life, community. And having someone in your pocket to talk to about focusing on your health first is going to help you show up with your family, show up in your community, show up to work and be your best self. And
Yeah.
so
No,
we
100%. I
love to
mean,
help
it's
people
so
out.
it's health is wealth, and that's what
Yeah.
people focus. They focus a lot on their wealth, but their health is their wealth, so they got to put a even amount of attention on both. So
I think that there's been this real long and I think misguided cultural badge of honor that we've always had here in the United States. That's, man, I work 20-hour days. I only got 4 hours of sleep.
yeah,
if you take a step back, that is not a smart way to work. You're going to reach burnout very fast. I mean, even myself, like, before starting Keyspan, my badge of honor was work hard, play hard. You can sleep when you're dead. And now I protect my sleep. Completely.
Yeah.
It's like, sorry guys, I got to go. It's 10:30.
Yeah.
I need to get to sleep. I've got a big day in the morning. I've got to work out in the morning. And it's just completely revolutionized my ability to function at a very high level, in all aspects of my life. And I'm hoping that the zeitgeist of the United States is waking up to that. Like, you take care of your health first. You don't need to work 20 hours. You will be more effective if you are staying healthy and working 10, 12 hour days instead. So,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
hope.
Well, yeah, I mean, what I was hearing from you there, or intuiting, if you will, was really more about boundaries too, and sometimes, like you said, you wear this badge of honor that you worked such a long time, but really, to be sustainable, you really need to have that kind of boundaries in place where you say, oh, well, no, I have to do my workout here. I have to get this X amount of hours of sleep. And the health coach that you're talking about helps them to establish those boundaries as well, or what are some of the things that the conversations that they have with them?
Yeah, I mean, it's very personal to each individual, and that's
Yeah.
the beauty of the human health coach component of our business is everyone's different, right?
Mhm.
And they look at what we like to call habit stacking. Where can we add things to your life? Don't make it more complicated because your life's already complicated, busy, and stressed out. How can we add things to your life in a very simple way? So let's say every morning you're having, let's say, cereal, or you are on the go and you're very busy and you're just picking up something that's quick and easy to eat. Well, most people are grabbing things that are very carb heavy, sugar heavy in the morning. So it's like, all right, listen, you stop and get your coffee every morning at Starbucks. Well, instead of getting a bagel or instead of getting, granola, why don't you grab egg bites? That's a pure protein egg bite. So let's just swap that out. You're still going to Starbucks. It's not going to add any more time to your life. You like eggs. Okay, great. Check, check, check. Let's add that to the list. Let's start doing that and see how this is going to impact your glucose, as an example, how it's going to impact your cravings throughout the day. Maybe you have a snack bag of chips next to your desk and you start snacking at 2 in the afternoon, 3 in the afternoon. Well, why don't you replace that with maybe a healthy nut mix, like a trail nut mix, things like that, where the coach is going to come in and understand where are these parts of the day where you're doing things that are not good for your health. And how can we replace those easily? And then habit stacking. How can you cross multiple things off at once? I have a silly one that my coach helped me build that I'm sure my neighbors think I'm a little bit crazy for, but I sit out and, I have three things I have to get done, right? I've got to get 15, 20 minutes of sunshine. I've got to do 10, 15 minutes of meditation breath work, and I'm working on my posture. So I've got to do some postural stretches. If I had to do all those independently, that's more than an hour of my day that I've got to put towards that. And that's just not possible. But what I can do is I can get a half bolster, sit in my backyard in the sun, stretch my back out, get my sun, and do my meditation all at the same time. In 15 minutes, I get all three things knocked out. So
Boom.
little things like that you just wouldn't think of. The health coach
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah, so yeah, you're compiling them, and the coach can speak to you about, the best, most efficient way to get all those things done. And everybody's going to be different, like you said. They have different goals, different body types. Of course, with the blood tests, I would assume you kind of look at those things as well. There's some people that have a particular body type that this pattern of supplementation, exercise is good for, or another person with a different body type has a
Yeah.
different type of supplementation and exercise they need to do.
You're
Is that what you get into as well?
That's it. I mean, it's the personalization of it all.
Yeah.
There's no one size fits all.
Yeah.
One's different, and that's where the beauty of our system comes in.
Yeah. It's interesting that you're talking about the microplastics. There is a lot of attention towards this right now. There's even another guy I had on a podcast that has made shoes that, it's a particular type of material that it, like, like melts. It doesn't melt like, as you're running or if it rains or anything like that. But they spent like, about 5 years, 6 years on like some material, and then they're making like shoes out of it and like phone cases out of it. Everybody is like getting really focused, I find, on this idea of the microplastics and how can we, either stop it, or, in your case, become more aware of it. Talk to me more about the microplastic test. I'm curious about what that's all about.
Yeah, well, Dave, I mean, it's a problem, right? I mean, everybody has 50% more microplastics in their brain than they did just 10 years ago. We're surrounded, it's everywhere. It's in our organs, it's in the placenta, it's in breast milk, and it's causing a lot of health issues. Things like disrupting our endocrine system, messing with our hormones, and causing just inflammation throughout the body. So, if anyone is looking to achieve optimal health, we need to be aware of these environmental toxins like microplastics, understand the impact they're having, and then take action, right? Be able to eliminate our exposure or reduce our exposure rates. You're never going to get rid of them. Unfortunately, we live in a plastic world and it's all around us. It's in the air we breathe. But you can start to be more aware of it. You can set your home up to be a more healthy environment. You can avoid the things that you're consuming that are big sources of microplastics. And that's one of the things we help people do with our microplastics blood test is measure what's in your body and then work with our health coach to come up with a plan, find out where are your exposures and how do we get rid of those? How do we swap out your plastic kitchen utensils for wood and metal, for example? How do we get you to stop drinking from plastic water bottles? Stop eating out of canned soups, things like that. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's in everything, right? I
it's
mean,
in everything, and it's
it's
only going to get worse. I think they're saying, I want to say they're expecting the amount of plastics in our society are going to triple over the next 10 years. It's everywhere.
yeah, it's rough. It's rough, and it all comes from petroleum, right? That's what the plastic originally comes from. It's our, how do you say, our like strong hold on petroleum, on oil, that like is kind of fueling all these things too.
Yeah, we have a heavy reliance on it.
Heavy reliance, yeah, real heavy reliance. Yeah, it's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge we're all facing here. But when it comes to like health challenges and such, I'd be curious about like how you kind of measure this at all. I don't know if you probably have thought of this in some shape, way, or form, but do you see anything where it's like, hey, if this is like how you were in the beginning, before you started working with us, and then after you started working with us, and there's like an increase of 20%, 50% energy, more product, things like this. Is there any kind of view on that you have?
Well, yeah, 100%. I mean, our whole business is based on tracking, right? So not only do we test your blood every 6 months, so you're going to have your blood tested over time and be able to see your biomarkers progress over time. But we also connect to all your major wearables that are out there, whether you're a Oura Ring fan or Whoop or an Apple Watch or Garmin. We'll be able to see your sleep patterns over time. We'll be able to see your HRV. We'll be able to see your resting heart rate, your exercise, the steps you're taking, and even with the microplastics, right? We measure down to 10 microns in the size of those microplastics, and we will be able to show you over time. When you take more tests, you'll be able to see the changes inside your body. And then, of course, the self-reporting, right? Just how do you feel? You feel like you have more energy? Do
Yeah.
you feel like your libido is better? Do you feel more clear-headed? Are you sleeping better? So we have, you know, dozens and dozens of data points that we can show improvements over time or, not improvement over time and focus our attention on those areas to try to turn them around.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's like it's somewhat subjective. It seems like you're putting some real objective measurements to these things, which is probably the main game changer there.
Yeah, I mean, how you're feeling is definitely subjective, but how your cholesterol's doing is pretty
Yeah.
pretty set in stone. Yeah.
I would agree. I would agree. Yeah, and so that's really interesting. In terms of your like story, I'd be curious about how you got into this, and if there's a particular event that happened that you were like, I think that we need a big change in this industry.
Yeah. I think my story is like millions of others out there. I woke up when I was, 40, had two young, small children, just looked at my wife and said, I am way too young to be feeling this old. What is going on? How am I going to keep up with my kids? So I go to my doctor, she tests, and she's like, well, you got high cholesterol, you've got low testosterone, you've got elevated liver enzymes. I'm going to make you feel better. I'm going to put you on a testosterone prescription and check back with me in 6 months. We'll see how you're feeling. And I want you to drink less and exercise more. I was like, okay. That was all done in my, 3.5, 4 minutes that I got with my doctor. Go home. I start doing the research on testosterone and found out very quickly that as a 40-year-old healthy male, like I didn't need testosterone. What my body didn't have some sort of uh, fault that was not able to produce or use testosterone. I was making bad lifestyle decisions. I needed to change my habits. That was the key. So I go back to my doctor. I tell her, I'm like, look, I don't want to be on a prescription because if I get on testosterone now, my body's going to become dependent on this for the rest of my life. I want to do this naturally. So I brought her all these tests that I wanted done. I was like, hey, I want you to order all these tests. When we get it back, I want you to kind of do a 360 for me. What should I eat more of and less of? What types of exercise and how often should I be doing it? What other lifestyle modifications do I need to be thinking about? What types of supplements can I take so I don't have to get on a prescription that can help me achieve my goals? And my doctors just looked at me and was like, love that you're doing this, but that's not my job. I don't have the time or the bandwidth or the training to do this. And that's when I realized that our healthcare system is really geared towards sick care and not healthcare. So I proceeded to go out and hire my own nutritionist, hire my own health coach, hire a personal trainer. I even went and saw a psychologist for mental health. And she did help me get all my tests done, but I was sort of left to my own devices on interpreting those. And after 6 months and thousands of dollars, I had this amazing plan. It's like I knew exactly what I needed to do to get healthy. And when I told all my friends about it, they all said, God, I got to have that. I'm feeling the same way. I got to change something. And then I showed them how much work it was, and they all opted out. They're like, yeah, I'm out. I don't have time for this in my busy life. So I said, hey, if I did it for you and just gave it all to you on a silver platter and made it super simple for you to get this information and make these changes, would you pay me for it? And they all said yes. So I built Keyspan.
And that's it. That's the story.
That's it.
Perfect. That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, that's huge. That's huge. Like and for any entrepreneurs that are out there listening to this, I mean, it's pretty much like just like that, right? You go through your own kind of journey yourself, experience the changes and go through the work, and then getting the buy-in, and then hey, would you, like you said, would you pay for something like this? Is perfect. That's
Yeah.
perfect. That's like that's a go-to market plan right there. And there's of course more details to it to make it work, but that's in essence a good. Well, as we kind of go towards the end of this episode here, um, is there any books that have inspired you recently, or anything that you're reading um, right now that could be insightful to the audience?
Books. I think some good books I've read lately is, well, we've got our new, I think, Surgeon General, Casey Means, CEO of Levels. She wrote a book called Good Energy, and she does a good job of, I think, focusing on some of the big problems that our society faces, and that it's kind of hard to be healthy in this society when every food product that's advertised to us is poison, and all the alcohol that is advertised to us is poison. And then the rest of the advertising are drugs that are meant to fix the diseases that the food and alcohol is causing. So I get it. It's hard.
Yeah.
She has a good book that I just finished, I guess, last year that I thought was pretty good in this vein, talking about health. So I think that's great for folks to check out.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we appreciate your insights here, Nate. Thank you so much for jumping on the Growth
Yeah.
Mindset podcast. I think we've grown a lot of minds today, and we will continue. as this podcast goes on. If you can share where people can find you, where they can talk to you more, if they want to get more involved, give us all the details.
Yeah. So go to getkeyspan.com. That's getkeyspan.com. And you can also use the code Coach Dave 25 for $25 off your order.
Awesome. Thanks for throwing that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is us signing off here at the Growth Mindset Podcast. Thank you so much for your attention and have a great day. Bye bye.